one car, and to his right, the 55 of younger brother Jeff Swindell as they form up on the back straightaway.
In fifth position, of course, these are all unofficial right now. The Weikert Livestock car, the number 29 car, Keith Kaufman, the pole sitter from a year ago. Jimmy Horton, who started in 10th position, is also right up there. We have him unofficially logged in at 6th position, right behind Kaufman. Also up in there, Skinny Jacobs, who started in 9th with the number 46 car out of Ohio. Kevin Collins, another top 10 starter, also continues to run in the top 10. We believe that he is in 2, 4, 6, 7th position right now. Smokey Snellbaker has improved his position to 9th, and in 10th position, the number 66B car, the original Ohioan, now living in Zelienople near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Johnny Bieber.
White flag, 1 lap to go, and we'll be back to racing here in the Super Nationals at Syracuse. They've got 11 laps on the scoreboard. These caution flag laps in the first segment do count. We will go 40 laps, stop the cars for fuel, and then run the last 23 laps flat out.
Mike, one of the people who was an added starter to this race by virtue of his finish in the B main, Brad Doty, is making a great run to the front. The yellow number 28 car, who started in 32nd position, has moved to 15th. He's already passed 17 cars in just 10 laps of green flag.
Formed up, right side of your screen, the white machine with the yellow wing, and carrying number 4 is Doug Wolfgang. They'll be looking for green coming out of the 4th corner. The fans intent on the action here at Syracuse. Hammer down, and green is on as they come off the 4th turn. Down the front chute, Wolfgang has the measure of Sammy Swindell, who has slipped up into the 2nd spot. Back to 3rd goes Steve Smith. In 4th is Jeff Swindell, and in the 5th spot, we're looking at Keith Kaufman. And in the 6th position, Jimmy Horton has moved up to the 6th spot as they go down the backstretch into turn 3. Wolfgang cocks it sideways.
Mike, on a restart like this, the traffic becomes very heavy from the middle of the pack on back. Field is tightly bunched now as it enters turns 3 and 4 as the leader, Doug Wolfgang, comes down the front straightaway, orbiting around this 1-mile racetrack. He is the pace setter. He looks like at this point he has the advantage on Swindell, but remember, Swindell has won more often than any other World of Outlaw driver in 1981. Is he lying in the bushes?
The action is well behind him. Back in 5th spot, tight, tough battle. 5 cars deep for the 5th spot, and back from 12th on back, it's just a gaggle of cars all running together on the backstretch. All of this of no concern to Doug Wolfgang, who stretches out his lead over Sammy Steve Smith. Riding in the 3rd spot, Jeff Swindell in 4th, and Keith Kaufman in 29, the 5th place car, the pole sitter from a year ago. Making his way up through the field, Kaufman started back in 8th position. And Jimmy Horton, who started 10th, Horton is now up into the 7th spot.
And Smokey Snellbaker, the winner of this race back in 1979, is beginning to flex his muscles. Snellbaker is on the racetrack right now, battling with Jimmy Horton, whom you just mentioned, Mike. And Snellbaker is making a concerted effort to try and move into the top 5. He has done so this time by. We see that Snellbaker has gotten around Jimmy Horton, and Snellbaker is now after Keith Kaufman, who runs in 4th position.
Snellbaker then has got to be flying. He has come up all the way from 15th position in only 15 laps. Knocking them off 1 per lap, and that is no mean feat on a course as tough as Syracuse.
Certainly not. Snellbaker again making a big move to the front, and Brad Doty, the young Ohioan, who we've commented about a couple of times, also continues to make progress. Doty right now has moved up to 9th position. There is the leader, Doug Wolfgang, moving down the backstretch at an extremely high rate of speed. That long, narrow backstretch, the tunnel, many of the drivers call it, and setting up for that tight turn number 3.
Tough race for Jim Champagne, the asphalt ace out of Clay, New York. He's not having the best afternoon here at Syracuse. Champagne is out of the competition. Wolfgang threads the needle between slower cars as he works lap traffic.
There he goes around the number 10 car of Randy Ford out of Elmore, Ohio. This 2nd-generation driver, by the way, picked up his number from his father, who used to run the number 16. And the first time his father put the number 10 on the car, because of a conflicting number with another driver entered that night, his father won the feature, the first time he'd ever done so. And so they have stuck with the number 10 since that time.
And Wolfgang has blistered the track in 29.002 seconds. That is a new track record here at Syracuse. So he is letting it all hang out. 18 of the first 40-lap segment completed. Doug Wolfgang in command.
Now you can see with relative ease, or so it would seem, Wolfgang getting around the back markers. Let's talk about who these people are. These are certainly not no mean feats in terms of driving driving skills, these drivers here in this Syracuse Super Nationals race. Wolfgang is making his way through some of the finest sprint car drivers in the country. You get an idea how quickly he's going.
As Wolfgang continues to extend his lead, Carter also has caught up with the pole sitter, Steve Kinser, down in the garage area. Kinser exited after only a couple of laps, and we'll go down to Carter and find out why.
It's unfortunate it was so easy. It's unfortunate it was so easy to catch up with Steve Kinser. He was sitting in his pit. We're going to find out now what happened. Your oil pressure was low before you went out. Tell us about it.
Well, evidently the bearings was bad in the motor, so we went out and ran 2 or 3 laps, and the car got to blowing real bad, so we just had to quit for today. We got just only 3 laps. You know, we jumped down the lead, and the car felt like it would have been fast enough to stay in the lead all day, but motor problems put us out of the race.
Boo. Tell me, did your oil pressure fall drastically just before you stopped?
Yeah, it went down to 0 and started blowing the oil. It didn't blow the motor, but it's definitely got the bearings out of it, so we'll just have to come back next year and try again.
Tough luck, Steve. Sorry about that. Back to you.
Kinser, the World of Outlaws champion, is going to lose valuable ground in outlaw points to Sammy Swindell this afternoon. Caution is on the racetrack. There had been a lot of smoke out of Barry Camp's car as Wolfie comes around to take the caution. Camp goes by the start-finish stand into turn 1, trailing a lot of smoke. Caution is out. That is not the reason we've got 2 cars up in the fence.
Mike, that is Smokey Snellbaker, one of the people we've been watching intently, making his fantastic explosion from the 15th starting position and working his way into the top 5. It's Smokey Snellbaker, and it looks like Lee Osborne is the other driver involved, 2 of the most well-known names in sprint car racing. Smoke coming from Osborne's car might be the telltale signs of a broken radiator as a result of the collision with Snellbaker.
Well, you can see the track crew there checking to see if indeed he can steer that car and get it back in competition. Snellbaker is pulling off the helmet. It's the end of the day for him. A tough competitor, the winner here 2 years ago, who will not go home with the $15,000 that awaits today's winner from the purse of $75,000.